the way to us from another time zone. Amelia Matus lives in Milwaukee, Wisconsin with her husband Zachary and 2 children, Sophia and River. Amelia participates in open mic events all over Milwaukee and Chicago and is an artist in residence at the Linneman's River West Inn. Her poetry, short stories, and essays have been published in Mount Mary Writer's Knit, The Clarionet, International Poetry Foundation, Sisters of Norway Monthly, and the Unusual Verse Zine. She has published a collection called Almost 7 and has 2 more books forthcoming, Of Olive Trees and Gods and Trinity of Lamb, a trilogy consisting of Follow, Stand, and Lead. Amelia.
Hi, thank you. So nice to be here. Really an honor, I would say. We'll just organize my own. This is from my book, my poetry book of Olive Trees and Gods. So I will start with the reason for the title, and it's called I Name the Gods. It's about my Greek roots. There's Greek blood in these veins, damn near Da Vinci divine, slightly closer to the bloodlines of Jesus, yet not as important as those that came quieter, or those that needed not to be named or told of. I dream of my ancestors and their grand orgy ways, spirit of fuck throughout the great leaves, with curly hair and leaves and tempers, and the chains of Romans, and the promise of Zeus, and the heart shape of Aphrodite's ass. I named those gods inside that forest, the myth that mystified mortal men, great beings with arrows and velvety hair, Cleopatra the night, her hair on our window, let down to cover the sun. One of my veins is golden, it is hard to puncture, and it will not bleed. Though we're all mutts of our mythology, martyrs to some cause that happened, to be told by our great ones, those that are but dust and twilight, bones and scripture, teller, tongue, and story. I named those gods when I was still womb-laden, when I was but a strain on a tree not grown or rooted, on a land not yet divided, when we were truly all races and not colors, or rather colors that raced to rainbow. And in 8th grade, that teacher from Germany, he taught me about my mystical ones, wanted me to memorize names that were swirls of circles on grandfather's tongue. He was scary, and once whipped me in front of the whole class as I shivered. I couldn't spit out the stories, they sounded wrong on his tongue. I wouldn't spit out what we hold sacred, put them in a loose leaf notebook, pass his test that made me worthy. I was the only Greek one in the class and the only one who failed. I refused to be tested on our history, didn't let it be his story, and I remember this each time the white lady on Channel 12 tells us once a year in very serious tones that it's Black History Month, and then moves on to the weather forecast, which always predicts rain. This is called Unmodest Clothespin. Then everyone was shouting for us to look at the clothesline, the yellow dress that dared fly in the wind like a sunbeam, and all the women dripped with frowns, pointing to the drab whites and off-whites that hung from their wooden pins, proper and quiet, not disturbing the landscape of gray air and dirty cement yards made of nothing but gravel and scolding. The children ran behind the garments. Surely their mothers would not look for them there. They could pretend the dresses were wings to fly them far away from the endless rows of wrinkled foreheads and drying linen. And drying linen. The young woman new to the block, with head held high, walked through the row that was so scorned, placing onto it a red dress that hung lusting from her clothespin. She placed it close to the yellow one so they could hold cotton hands together, and walked smirking to her doorway as the other mothers gathered up their children and went inside, tisking like pigeons to prepare dinners for their husbands. Perhaps tonight there would be peaches, brave and sensual, next to the stew pot. This poem is about my neighborhood that I live in. It's called Winter in the Gaps. Stoplight blinks its multi-personality to red. A few blocks back it was green as the whore paid for. Then the confused, unsure state of yellow, when sometimes it is still safe to pass through without yet being named a rapist. Now, lake shut tightly, access firmly denied, stop right now, red. Halfway between the delicious art district and the shining hills of the suburbs, there are 20 blocks of purgatory. Streets forgotten by the angels, though not quite disturbed as hell. The sky opens, spilling belly like a broken zipper, releasing flakes of snow, furious thousands of tiny, screaming paper dolls. Each coat on the corner is filled with a person, though barely a face is visible, just puffy sleeves, gold fur, and low-slung pants. The pants are curious, sunk like battleships and dreams, not flight-bound, so each step is a sway of a pit bull's tail wing. Behind the flock is a billboard, this month featuring a half-baked baby with a telephone number that might connect you to Jesus, or at least recorded directions to the abortion clinic above 5th Street Church. The jacket looks so clean and fresh against cement-stained day brilliance. Joyful colors covering slouch, sad shoulders, protecting sludge-sworn souls, silent, suffering the stiff trudge of sainthood. The traffic lights feeling frisky gives the green go, and the traffic answers with hesitation, while two young boys and their very pregnant mother walk. Her fetus forgot praying thanks that picture's not of him, though it could have been his brother. They stroll, defiant and disenchanted, right past the do not walk sign, and cars with hoods for condoms blare horns to rush the ceremony, break laws and risk safety quicker when winter is in the gaps. All right, this is a poem called Everyday Jesus, and it's actually about, I'm going to grab a sip of that. This is about a former friend of mine, her son Cordero, and there's a lot of Corderos in the world, and unfortunately, I've found a lot of friends in the world, but this is about Cordero, beautiful child, everyday Jesus. He had more than a few things in common with the Messiah. He was born to a mother impregnated by circumstance. Though she had partaken in the moving, her privacy was aversion to love, and it was not married to anyone but everyone. Like the one, he did not have a father, but he did have many stand-ins. Lots of tall males he could imagine would lead him for the month or two they stood around. He was born into poverty, atop piles of straw-shredded child support checks, not worth being cashed, for they were but dust of court-ordered intentions, but the thought of them made softer sleeping. There were many stars that shined the night of his birth, but they were hard to see amidst the city lights. All each felt impotent as the weather forecast when wished upon. You could follow them straight to heaven or hell, depending on which street you turned on. The boy was born a believer. It was passed down through the bloodlines. Each uncle, aunt, and grandfather had such faith it was almost furious. Prayers weaved to his tongue before the nipple pushed purple and insistent past his pink infant lips. He was the best fed of his siblings. He had 3 brothers and 1 sister and too many cousins to count. The boy spun miracles out of the ordinary. Miracle, his eyes were so bright, and eyelashes so long. When the sights to see were dismal, not quite worthy of song, but they sang praise anyways, loud and in language his neighbors could not interpret. Many celebrated his birthdays, brought gifts as playful as thick incense smoke, tales told with treble and the yearning, leftover toys from discount stores, $1 for a half-broke puzzle that would bring 1,000 sighs. His mother would smile each time the child spoke. He was softer than his brothers, would lay longer on her weary lap as she picked lint and mischief from his curls. Smoothing down the worried wrinkles of his brow, she worshipped her prized young one, battling the curses that followed him everywhere he did go. By 13, his friends betrayed him, became soldiers of Satan with thug talk of muggings. One bled to death on his doorstep. He did not turn water to wine, but rather blood to pools of tiered raindrops, sirens disturbing some woman's wailing, while his mother broke bread to feed, many mouths open, stuffed, not to give away secrets and to stifle screams. Writings were inspired by him. Though he did not know the authors, nor they him, he would be compared to an empty screen set, a flat bike tire, a leaky faucet, a baby bird. He carried his cross bravely. His mother stitched it to him while wound struck, shined it, and walked to the bus stop. It began to burn his back, but removal was not an option. It grew as he grew, keeping his wings properly clipped. He is crucified daily by the teachers who pass him when he can't yet read, and the politicians who use his picture to win the elections, and by the store clerk convinced he is stealing, and the woman's tighter held purses, and the whippings to harden him for Tuesdays, and the poets who imagine his suffering for book ideas, and the pains of hunger in his belly that stamp out premeditation, and the prison system that will welcome him, and the teaching that each white face will hate him until he can no longer bear to love. So each morning little child resurrects, shaking off boulders and non-believers, holding tight verses of Baldwin and Maya Angelou that he cannot read but memorized from his mother's tired lips, with each night and if I die before I wake, and each new dawn that he does not, Easter. This is called accusation of character. He said she was very selfish, not loving their baby boy right, not rocking him long enough or singing softly hum mother songs. Said she treats the older one better, probably because she's a girl and is old enough to respond to the hugging. Whereas the baby just lays there, fat and stubborn, roll after roll sticking with drool hanging from pouty lips, eyes focused on the moving, smelling of baby powder, urine, and jarred apples. She does not answer his accusations, does not even face them in the eye, just tightens her apron, dries hands off on the dish towel, turns the oven dial, wonders where did her blush compact go? Is the last load of whites done? Perhaps the bath water should be drawn. He grumbles, pulls white shirt loose from his iron pants, runs hand through dirty hair, looks at the mess on the floor, toys, crayons, baby, child in corner drawing pictures of someplace else. I'm going to take a nap, he says, not even pausing to look at his wife in a husbandly manner. Wake me when dinner's done, will you this time? The creak of feet disturb wooden floor. It groans interrupted from dreams of trees. He probably reminds you too much of me. Words coming with a sniff from around the lemon-washed corner. She smiles, a smirk the window catches, then without a word grabs soup pot, fat wooden spoon, and slowly, slowly stirs, stirs, stirs. I was born with someone with a lot of health issues, so I'm always at the doctor. I've had lots of operations, so I can walk and all this stuff. And I was supposed to die a few times, and I didn't. So this is called Sickly Cure. Give me black my blood. Take it out of those sterilized vials, confused with glass vein, purple and thick, and unlike Merlot. Give me back my bones. Let them creak like screen doors in June. Don't use magnets to draw me transparent and stuck, like chalk jungles of black ones. I am so very tired of the medicine, the cure, the ills. Give me back the sick. Take my name off a file. Don't say it with a forced, pleasant tone. At least give me that. The nurses look at me with pity shaking hands, manicured fingers. They take my pulse, my weight, my limbs, my heat with sympathy, and they don't give it back to me. Each pill has a different shape, texture, side effect, though the one thing they all have in common is my tongue, forced, pushing the bleached powder towards stomach. They are supposed to suppress the illness. All they do is suppress my nerves so that my spirit can no longer feel my flesh. My uniform is a striped hospital gown. The rooms lighted garish, not a candle in sight. The floor all with gray pink zigzag carpet. I can follow the zag back to the zig, but not to the exit. I don't want to be sick anymore. Don't want no more chicken soup faces like dead flowers next to hospital door. Asking again and again and again about the birth defect, the birth defect, the birth defect. And I just want to offer to them the birth. This one, I'm sure a lot of people ask me for money, and I always ask them their name, and this is about that. What is your name? The wind chimes wail when you wander to us like an unfed soldier in an army of crack lust and stolen integrity. I know you offered your soul to many demons, though. The burn and smoke is not enough to turn you to ash. To turn you to ash, my son. Though your hands are cracked with ache and unwashing, I see through them the glass of divinity. Take them into my own to try and offer to you soft. Without eyes of sympathy, tell me, what is your name? Have you forgotten that you were born wet and eager from the womb, ready for milk warmed with no teeth, just like now with no teeth, just like now? Have you forgotten that your mother looked down at you with beaming pride no matter what her sins, and said the holy alphabet in a particular order, sacred place seeds just for you? And now you ask of me to offer coin, trying to name yourself so many things, so many statistical numbers in a prison jumpsuit, or the ones that are collected before New Year to tell us who we're lost. Tell me, son, what is your name? I call you son, for we are children, trying to conclusions of a certain creative consciousness. And you are indeed my son, as I am your daughter, as I am your sister, and you my brother, and me your mother when you came into the world with no teeth, ready for milk warmed. And now with calcium falling out in lumps, you have lost your bite, but not your need for suckle. As I also yearn for the natch of your words, I will offer you mine, but first, son, what is your name? Once a child at risk, now risking, you offer fortunes and fake miracles, insisting to lower yourself before us and bow. But I refuse to take your glory, sir. You are a sunbeam just like me, and I will take you with me on the starry ride tonight, through the shuddering solar system that shifts lights of light. Don't tell me you need no bus, no hamburger, no job application fun, son. You don't need reason, and I need less your rehearsed rhyme. Take those letters that were offered to you when you were born wet and eager from the womb, with no teeth but knowledge of sweet milk, my son. Jamal, thank you, Jamal. It is a pleasure to have met you this evening, sir. This happened to me. It has a bad word in it, but I like the poem. It's called Pussy. If you want to see this bad word, cat. Tommy. Here we go, God. Amelia. My grandpa. Here's this poem. Okay. This is true. Kurt had long blonde hair that wrapped around his waist. He made for a sexy boyfriend at the time I was 17. And he said that if girls at 17 were at their prime. It sort of sounded like meat. But I liked it when he smiled and stuck his tongue between his gap teeth. All the girls were jealous. He had hate and ink on one fist and love on another. So deep for a 16-year-old high school dropout. He always wanted me to say pussy. I don't know why. Every time we went out, he would beg me to say it. And I wouldn't. It seemed rude and strange, and I didn't want to say something just because a man told me to. I remember his lips. They were plump and bruised from some fights. He was always in fights, and I can see them pink and proud, whispering over and over again, say pussy, say, while he fondled my hair and I shifted uncomfortably in my seat. It had been a month since we became steady. That's what we called it then, steady. So I guess that was a turning point. Time to put a fork in it and decide if it was edible or not. We were in his room, his friends blasting loud music out in the hall, evil music that thumped against the door like some sort of hell. He tried to take off my pants. They were light pink and tight, and I held them, but he was stronger than me. And off they went. Then my panties, red and white lace. Does lace mean yes? Ripped easy at first. I asked and then I begged. His hands were blurs, love and hate. Love, hate, love, hate, love, hate, love, hate. To the sound of Slayer, I was raped. Brutally, bruised and bloody, he left me to shake. I put back on my clothes, left the ruined panties as he laid there breathing hard, slowly redressed the undressed, felt more naked with each layer, picked up my dignity that spilled like an ashtray onto the floor, walked to the door, then turned. Kurt, I said, and he blinked startled as if this were the first time in his life that he had seen me. Kurt, you are such a pussy. Read this one from my life. I'm just clumsy like this. This makes me happy though. It's good. Okay. It's called Where Are the Fathers? There are so many daughters here. Blink half winking lest the sunlight make flight the beads braided, baby jaded and hair not faded, just brilliant and slick as ink and tight curls. There are so very many girls. And mothers, Lord, hear them wail. Head thrown in laughter and song, wearing the world on their backs and humming along. Ladies brimming with light to the last midnight, when someone told them that might makes right, and instead chose that third sight. Yeah, there are so very many mothers here. And sons by the dozens, tiny little scraps of God, moving slick quick through the alleyway, dancing fast and furious till they can fly. The boys flood the streets, big pants hiding feet, no need for wings, they got their smile to prove they be kings. There are so very many boys here. But the fathers, where are they? Where are the movers and the shakers, the ones who filled the sun to busting, baked out all this brilliance to create these castles in these sands? One thing to abandon land, yet another the hand and feet that make up the pebble's softened grain. Mothers, daughters, and sons, alone prancing, gorgeous as truth, wide gaps between teeth, better for the prophecy. Blonde eyelashes curled heavenward, bursting full from these streets now mountains, shivering with the thunder of feet. But where, my sons, my daughters, the mothers, not married virgin, yet birthing and raising so many messiahs? Sweet milk-filled mother with breastfeeding, so many things more than belly. Where are the fathers? Where have all the fathers gone? I have a poem that I wrote. The book that I brought along is almost 7, and it's well, I'll read you. It's very close to actual events experienced by the author, but not actual events experienced by the author. Very close. And there's a poem about it that I wrote a long time ago called Clean Hands. I was a pretty smart child, more smart than pretty. Like most girls, I loved jump rope and kitties, but by 7 I learned how to smile at men, and by 11 how to run from them. I learned right away that monsters were real. They came late at night in your soul, they'd steal. Except they didn't hide where everyone sit. They crept not under, but into your bed. You held me down and kept me down, 'cause my little pigtails and sippy cup somehow got your shit up. Your hands, I remember every last detail, every last line. The way they clap for me from time to time, those smooth white petals that penetrated limb to find my bone. I ran from those hands and they carried me home. You told me not to tell, so I started to speak in color. In trembles and shakes, shivers and stutters, Mama, that turquoise bad man with pasty white hands, Mama, I made him turn red. She did not understand. I said, Mama, neon leaned on me, over me, hold me, so cold to me, get away from me, man. I, red, pink, amber, green, black, rosemary morning, never serene, don't make me go back, your hands, they were so clean. And now at 29, going on 30, I still believe that mine are dirty. Mama, take me back into your womb, Mama, back into the warm mouth of my beginning, before I learned to pray and started sinning. No, Mama, into your womb, not my room. My teddy bear is crying in there. She did not understand it was my tomb. So I loved him, because I was special. Even though my brother beat me in every arm wrestle and in kickball at recess I never did win, it was okay because I was loved by him. So, ooh, Mr. Clean Hands, Mr. Mean, too much of me, singing hands. I wonder if you heard my heart soar when at 12 you said I wasn't so pretty anymore. I never found the strength to shut my legs, only enough to close my eyes. I never told your secrets, I never told your lies, and I still can't look straight into my mother's eyes. Your voice so syrupy, I still hear it. You molested my limb, you molested my spirit. Brave I am now, but only in lyrics. I hid in trees, underneath tables, autumn leaves, fairy tales. Now I hide in poetry, in rhythms, words, and rhymes, beats of jazz, and folds of time. Mama, hear me, Mama. I couldn't tell, but they heard him in hell, Mama. Let's pray, so peace can I make. If I die before I wake, oh, if I die before I wake, Mama. This is the written portrait of the lion sleeping with the lamb, closely related to actual events by the author, and it's the story of all of these children, but beautiful too. Thank you.
Would you like a little more air? Or not? I'm fine. No. We want the door open?
Sure.
I think it would be nice to have a little more air.